Moving on to ocular oncology, we have Dr. Pratibha Devi talking on a child with white reflex, evaluation and diagnosis, who again leads the orbit and oculoplasty department at the MNI hospital, with her area of interest being thyroid eye disease. On to you, Dr. Pratibha. Pratibha, try to stick to time. Are you unmuted? Dr. Pratibha, you need to unmute yourself.
Good evening. I thank Chitra Madam and the organizing committee for giving me an opportunity. And my talk will be on a child with white reflex, evaluation and differential diagnosis. So leukocoria means white pupillary reflex. So literature says that retinoblastoma has to be considered as the first differential unless proven otherwise. And there is another term called pseudoleukocoria, which means white reflex which is present intermittent, and it can be because of the reflection in the optic disc. The differential diagnosis for leukocoria or pseudoretinoblastoma are could be because of various pathologies in the lens, that is the cataract, the pathologies in the vitreous cavity, and pathologies in the retina like the coloboma, toxocariasis, familial exudative vitreoretinopathy, retinopathy of prematurity, retinal detachment, and retinal astrocytoma. So evaluation includes a proper detailed history taking, torchlight examination, intraocular pressure measurement, anterior segment evaluation, fundus examination, ancillary testing, and imaging. So in history taking, the age of onset is very important. So the parents has to be inquired about the right age of onset. Literature says that the average age of onset for retinoblastoma is 1.5 years, whereas in Coats disease, the average age of onset is 5 years. And duration of onset can also be evaluated by seeing the serial photographs by getting it from the parents. And other symptoms has to be also inquired from the parents about the presence of squint, defective vision, and others. A detailed past medical history has to be obtained, and this includes a history of retinopathy of prematurity, because such kids can present with retinal detachment in the later age. A history of ocular trauma should be elicited from the parents, because that can children with earlier ocular trauma can present with rhegmatogenous retinal detachment causing a white reflex later. History of arthritis and juvenile idiopathic arthritis should be elicited from the parents. History of prenatal infection should be elicited. Exposure to pets to rule out Toxocara infection should be done. A detailed systemic illness history should be elicited, particularly tuberous sclerosis, which can cause retinal astrocytomas. And skin disorders like incontinentia pigmentae, which can cause multiple vesicles in the skin, which can be associated with rhegmatogenous retinal detachment. Family history of certain diseases which can cause leukocoria should be asked, such as retinoblastoma, familial exudative vitreoretinopathy, and coloboma. Clinical evaluation includes detailed torchlight examination. Here we see a symmetrical red reflex, but in this picture we see absence of red reflex, which denotes there is some pathology in this side. And here we see a chalky white reflex, which indicates there is a tumor, and chalky white or a white leukocoria is suggestive of retinoblastoma. Yellowish tint or a xanthocoria is indicative of Coats disease. And in the third picture, we see a bluish white reflex, which is characteristic of a cataract. Next, the pupillary evaluation has to be done, and then the visual acuity examination has to be done for both verbal and non-verbal children. For verbal children, the Snellens, and the non-verbal children, we can use the Lea symbols. Intraocular measurement should be done by using non-contact methods, as we are dealing with children here, and intraocular pressure can be raised in retinoblastoma, Coats disease, and juvenile idiopathic arthritis. It can be low in retinal detachment. So when we see, then a detailed anterior segment examination has to be done using a slit lamp. When we see a picture like this, opacity in the posterior capsule of the lens with a fetal vasculature, a remnant of the fetal vasculature, and which can be present along with microcornea, microphthalmia, shallow anterior chamber, and then we should strongly suspect a persistent fetal vasculature. This is a Burgmeister papillae showing the white reflection here. When we see a patient like this with a bluish white reflex, we should evaluate the lens for cataract, and the diagnosis of congenital cataract was made after ruling out any mass lesion in the retina. This is a very quiet eye. There is a presence of hypopyon in the anterior chamber, but the anterior chamber also had fluffy seeds on the iris. So this patient is a case of anterior chamber retinoblastoma with pseudo-hypopyon, and the presence of tumor in the vitreous cavity and the retina has to be done. When we see something like this, a mass lesion protruding in the through the pupillary reflex, we should also evaluate for the presence of cataract, glaucoma, and the possibility of a ciliary body medullopithelioma has to be made. So this is a case of iris coloboma, and iris coloboma can present with a cataract in the earlier days, and it can cause a white reflex. And when the iris coloboma is present along with the choroidal coloboma, the reflection can cause a leukocoria. This is a picture of anterior chamber, which shows shiny golden, shiny crystals in the anterior chamber. This is called as cholesterolosis, and this indicates a benign chronic retinal disease, particularly Coats disease. And when we see a picture like this, we know that there is some chronic inflammation in the eye along with some band-shaped keratopathy. The diagnosis of juvenile idiopathic arthritis has to be made, and this is present along with the cataract, and that is the reason for the white reflex here. And this is yet another case of anterior chamber retinoblastoma. Once we do a thorough anterior segment evaluation, we have to see into the vitreous cavity. So a retinoblastoma can present with vitreous seeds, as we can see here, and it can cause a hazy media and fluffy vitreous deposits like this. This is a very nice picture of a persistent fetal vasculature, where there's a communication, persistent hyaloid artery connecting between the optic disc and the lens. Presence of vitritis can cause a hazy media and a picture like this, and can cause a dull reflex. So optic disc findings like morning glory syndrome and retinochoroidal coloboma can cause a white reflection, causing a leukocoria. A detailed retinal evaluation has to be done, and the retinoblastoma has to be a detailed retinal evaluation has to be done. The presence of multifocal tumor should be ruled out, because a 360-degree evaluation has to be done. And presence of retinal picture like this, like in a headlight in fog appearance, should give us a clue about Toxocara infection. Familial exudative retinopathy usually do not cause a white reflex in the initial phase. In the initial period, they only cause straightening of the peripheral vessels, along with ischemia or ischemia and neovascularization of the retina. In the later phases, the neovascularization can cause exudative retinal detachment, and that can cause a white reflex. Retinal detachment is very common differential for retinoblastoma, and this is a rhegmatogenous retinal detachment, and exudative retinal detachment, as in Coats disease, can also cause a leukocoria and confuses between a tumor. So after doing a thorough clinical examination, sometimes we might not come to a conclusion about the diagnosis, and we have to do certain ancillary testing to come into a diagnosis. And ultrasonography is the best tool, which is easily available, not expensive, not invasive. It is easily accessible, and it is very highly specific to detect retinoblastoma and to see for calcifications. These are some of the pictures of ultrasound depicting the retinoblastoma. The first picture, it is a multifocal tumor. There is 3 elevated dome-shaped lesions which are homogeneous, And in the second picture here, we see a single tumor elevated lesion from the retina. Here we see multiple calcifications in the mass lesion. This is very peculiar. These calcifications are very peculiar of retinoblastoma. This is an ultrasound picture of a persistent fetal vasculature wherein we see a communication, the beautiful communication between the disc and the lens.
Doctor, 1 minute left.
A regmatogenous retinal detachment can be easily picked up by the separation of retina from the other layers. And Coats disease can sometimes confuse us with the mass lesion. To differentiate a Coats disease, we can do an imaging to come to a conclusion. UBM is taken particularly in choroidal tumors. And angiography is not done for all the cases, but when there is in retinal disorders causing a white reflex, we can do angiogram, particularly in Coats disease and in toxocaral infection. MRI is the diagnostic of choice when we doubt a case of retinoblastoma. We should do a MRI to see for the extent of tumor into the optic nerve and to the infiltration of the tumor into the intracranial cavity. We should also see a presence of tumor in the pineal gland to rule out trilateral retinoblastoma. So this is MRI pictures of cases of retinoblastoma. This is an axial picture. This is an T1. This is an T1 weighted image. Here we see proptosis with mass lesion, which is iso-intense in T1, with extension of the tumor into the orbital cavity and in the optic nerve, and is also extending into the brain. And this is a T2 weighted picture of another patient wherein we the T2 weighted images show a hypo-intense lesion of mass lesion, but there is no extension into the nerve and brain. How to differentiate between an exudative retinal detachment and retinoblastoma? Exudative retinal detachment will be iso-intense in T1 and will be hyper-intense in T1 and will be iso-intense in T2. And other blood, apart from the routine blood investigations, torch testing has to be done in patients with leukocoria. And genetic testing will be should be done, particularly when we deal with retinoblastoma and astrocytic hematoma. And Honavar sir and Usha madam will be talking about that. And fine needle aspiration biopsy should only be done after ruling out retinoblastoma, and for us to get a clear diagnosis, when we are not sure about the diagnosis, an AC tap or a vitreous tap can be done for further diagnosis. So to conclude, we have to examine any child with leukocoria with an open mind, think of all the possibilities, and examination under anesthesia should be done if the child is small. Thank you, AOS, for the opportunity.
Thank you, Dr. Pratibha. That was a very thoroughly dealt differential diagnosis.